Hey, welcome back to the workshop. If you're new here, my name is Chris and I run a small 3D printing business in my basement. Today we're going to go through business updates and how February went, walk through a couple goals and ideas I have for this month, and then answer a few questions that you guys have had in the past couple of weeks. Let's get going. So let's start out with an update on February. Business-wise, my combined sales with Shopify and Etsy was 38 sales total. 17 of those came through Shopify. Now, one of the questions I had in the past couple of weeks was, how are you driving sales over to your website for Shopify and getting sales there? Well, I have a very few set of products, the Dice Boy and a couple STL files, but primarily the traffic that's going there is the Dice Boy video I made, I think like 2 or 3 videos ago. And then on top of that, I cross-posted that on Reddit to some very specific places like the solo role-playing subreddit and some groups like that. Now, I will say on Reddit, and I've said this before, you got to be really careful where you cross-post, and you need to make sure you follow the rules of the moderators. In some instances, when I knew it was a really good product fit for the group of people I was trying to get in front of, I have reached out to the moderators or the people who manage the subreddits to ask them first for permission, and that's actually gone over really well. I did that with my hopper quite a while ago, and that's driven quite a few sales. Now, in terms of what's actually selling, I finally sold one of my soda caddies. It didn't take super long. I don't know how well they are going to sell in the long run, but I did get one of these out the door, which was kind of cool. But overall, my Ode grinder hopper is by far my best seller. And then the coat hooks that I made and have talked about using the SuperTack plate as a solution to be able to print these with the smooth surface again, have been my second best seller. They're just kind of more of a unique piece and fit kind of a niche market that other people don't necessarily have the same type of product in. Next thing is I want to answer a question I got about how have the bamboo SuperTack plates been holding up, and I will say they've been holding up very well. So I have 4 of them and I use them. It's not like I have one that I specifically use, but overall they've held up really well. Whenever I want to clean them, I don't use isopropyl alcohol or any types of solvents. I use Dawn dish soap and hot water over my sink, and then I dry it off with like a microfiber towel or something that doesn't leave stringing. So like if you did paper towel, it might leave all the little fibers on there. Now I will say, I kind of got aggressive on the backs of these, or on one side when I was doing some prints, and I have a couple that I've scratched up. So I don't know if you can see that, but I have marred the surface on there. Now these still print actually perfectly fine even with the scratches, but I don't use these sides with scratches for production purposes, because specifically products like my coat hook and my hopper, I need a perfectly smooth surface, and these will impress themselves onto the actual face of this product. So I have marked those with just a Sharpie and put a little black mark here to indicate that that's the post-production, but the prototyping side for my own purposes. But all that to say, these have held up great. 10 out of 10, I would buy again. While I do have a few products and many of the things here are for packing them, I really need to focus in on designing new things, getting creative again, coming up with solutions that I think would be fun to design, number one, but then also potentially something marketable. So I think that's kind of my goal for this month, is to at least maybe design 2 products that I can put up on my store and get those up on my store, and then we'll kind of see where that takes us. The other thing is about goals and pacing. So I was trying to think about like, okay, how do I know I'm on track to hit that goal? And if I want to get 10 sales per day, I think a good start would be to work backwards. So in December, if I'm getting 10 sales per day, then in November, I want to be getting 9 sales, and then go all the way back. So this past month with the sales I had, it was only about like 1.3 sales per day in February. So I think the new product development and getting things listed up on the website, and then the YouTube videos around that type of stuff, and maybe cross-posting on Reddit and so on and so forth, should help me progressively pick up my sales throughout the course of the year. All right, so technically by March, I need to be making 1 sale a day, and then April be making 2 sales a day, and so on and so forth. I believe that's right. But I'll like to see 2 sales per day in March. I think that would be a good goal, and then 3 in the following month, and that would give me some buffer. And the last thing I want to talk about is a little bit more around advertising and how to use that. Now, I will say Etsy ads, I'm still using that. I'll give maybe an update in a few weeks on how that is going. I'm paying very little, but I know some people who it's working extraordinarily well for, and they spend a lot in that market. It really comes down to product fit, and not only are your ads getting in front of the people at the right time, but also is your listing of your product done very well, built out well, convert well, and is it a good product, right? So all of those things have to make work together for the advertising to even be effective for you. But that being aside, I will say when it comes to where should you spend your time and money if you're doing an online business, and my answer to you is it should be in content, whether that is YouTube, blogs, podcasts, or something that takes your time to make and learn. You might have to learn a few skills to be able to do that too, but that is going to give you the best and longest term foothold in your market for your products. That is what we call search engine optimization, and that is going to be the best way for you to build a business. Advertising, I always like to consider that as a tool to grow your company, but it should not be a tool to sustain your company. Again, I work in the world with small business owners, and the people I see who struggle the most are people who rely on advertising to be able to sustain their business. It's actually quite a nightmare and is also very scary for those individuals, because if the advertising slows down a little bit in terms of its effectiveness, it could mean them having to close their doors for their business. So work on content, work on getting your website up, work on building out a social media presence, whether that's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You know, pick one and make that your main one, and then the rest of them can be an addition if you have time. That is the best piece of advice I can give you as I've been working in the advertising world for 10 years or so. Do it. That's the one thing. That's what I'll say. I'll get off my high horse now, but that's the one thing I'll say. Well, thanks for sticking around. I didn't want to give you guys too long of a wait before the next video. I wanted to give you an update on how things have been going. Overall, it's been good. A little bit slower, but better than where it was last year. So that is fantastic. A lot of opportunity. I just need to get my head down and back into the grind with things, designing products, and getting these videos out for you. If you guys have any questions or comments, drop them in the comments below. I do read them. I am going to go through and try to reply to everybody this week, and I'll try to get back on that. But I am reading the comments as they come in. So I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time. See ya.